Good afternoon. Eric Allinger, Pioneer Field Agronomist here. Wanted to speak to you today a little bit about somewhat of the dilemma we're in now with the calendar and the wet conditions. And we've been thinking about having this conversation and kind of didn't want to do it, but I think we probably need to do it. And so without insulting anybody or causing any hard feelings, we need to talk still a little bit about compaction. And I know that's a kind of a worn out topic. However, the later it gets, the bigger the penalty is for making a mistake. So we think we need to review this. So at this point in time, here it is, the end of the second week of May. Certainly we know it's safe to plant any crop you want to. Corn, beans, or grain sorghum, no problem. So at this point, we think that our most sensible approach would be perhaps to seek the driest ground available, no matter what the crop is we're planting. And in order to, in doing that, we're going to try to minimize mistakes. So, and I know it doesn't make sense, and we're not going to run all over the farm, back and forth or across counties, seeking the driest ground. We're going to do it in geographies that are close together and things like that. But still, seeking the driest soils available will benefit you, we know, as the summer and the growing season comes along. So, again, we know that making a mistake now, I think especially with corn, there is a big price to pay. And it comes in about 4 different ways. So no-till, we think that if you slice in no-till, and you know this, you're going to create sidewall compaction. Sidewall compaction that is followed by hot, dry conditions creates sidewalls that are about the consistency of a brick, and from that you get hatchet roots. You get almost these one-dimensional roots that are pinned or pinched in the sidewall. And believe it or not, this week I saw anhydrous ammonia injury. And I know you'd think that sounds crazy for as wet as we've been, but I'm telling you, where anhydrous ammonia went in wet and the sidewalls were baked, guess what? Once again, they become hard, and that anhydrous gets caught. It gets caught in that band or that zone where it can't get out and permeate the soil. And when the corn planter or a row of corn crosses that, guess what? It gets lit up. So we saw some anhydrous injury on wet ground this week, and I'm sure that's the reason why. So that's no-till vertical. Horizontal, working ground wet. So first cut of tillage that's coming, maybe with a vertical tillage pass tool, where it's a little bit on the heavy side, you can create compaction. You know what they do when they build a road? What's the first thing they do? They disc. And so again, that creates compacted area for the road to be built, and this is not anything unlike that. So if you get that horizontal layer of compaction, that's going to stop root penetration down through the soil. Can't get to nutrients or water, either one. So that's number 2. Large equipment. Take a big sprayer, a sprayer with a 90 or 100 or 120 foot boom. You fill it full of water. You've got an implement that weighs 30 to 35, 38,000 pounds. You put that on big tires and you cross wet ground after a planter's been through. That can also make a mess, and a mess to the degree where you cross the row, you may have a gap in the row of corn that's the exact width of that tire. So we want to avoid that if we can as well. And then pinch rows. Pinch rows with a planter and a tractor on wet ground. The pinch rows that occur directly underneath and behind the tractor itself as you're pulling the planter through the field, we know can create gaps, as you'll see in this photograph. Of where plants either didn't emerge or didn't emerge on a timely basis, and they become more of a runt or a weed than they do a competitive plant. So that's a review of the 4 things: the vertical, horizontal, large equipment, post planting and spraying, and then pinch rows behind or underneath the tractor. And oh yeah, by the way, don't forget anhydrous ammonia on wet ground where you slice it in. So these 4 things we think are things that we need to watch and avoid if at all possible. Because we know with late planting there are penalties to pay. So thanks again for watching, and please feel free to reach out to anyone in the Pioneer Agronomy team or the sales team and let us help you with any questions you may have.
That concludes this Pioneer Growing Point Agronomy video podcast. Visit our page on pioneer.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook for more agronomy insights.